Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Zane here at WrestleCon, quite possibly the biggest interview of my career. I never thought this would happen. You probably never thought this would happen. Standing next to me right now is the most polarizing, divisive, nay, controversial man in professional wrestling, Mr. Vince Russo. Vince, thanks so much for being on my show.
Listen, stop. Give me the Vince. Do the Vince Russo that you do in all these other videos. Do the Vince Russo. Say that as Vince Russo, because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to critique you.
All right, thank you. Bro, let me tell you, bro, I swear to God you're going to love this interview subject, bro, because right here, my friends, bro, let me tell you, bro, is the #1 writer, creative genius in all professional wrestling, bro. That's Mr. Vince Russo. Vince, welcome to the show, bro.
That sucks. That's freaking horrible. That sounds nothing like nothing. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you how the accent worked, because I worked on it.
That was like God. Do I say God? You said God. My God. Do I say my God? Do I say my God?
Some of the best impressions are exaggerations, though. I will say that. So
I give you credit for doing that in front of me.
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Anything for the interview, man. I'll tell you.
Whatever you got.
So let me ask you something. We know that Jim Cornette has heat with you.
Right.
Do you have heat with Jim Cornette?
Zero. I've said it a million times. Jim Cornette is in a one-way fight. I have no heat with him whatsoever. I've tried. JR has had me on his podcast a couple times. I said, JR, invite Cornette on the show. I said, whatever he wants to say, whatever he wants to get out, let's just end it. I have no heat with him whatsoever. Bro, you can listen to my podcast. To this day, I put Cornette over. I work with him. Bro, I say this all the time, and this is the God honest truth. The two guys I have worked with in the wrestling business, this includes Vince McMahon. The two guys I've worked with in the wrestling business for over 25 years that like nobody thinks like, because it's like a different level of thinking, is Jim Cornette and Dutch Mantel. And I mean that, bro, I've said that to nauseum. So I have zero heat. Personally, bro, I don't think Jim will ever try to bury whatever grudge he has. I think it's become part of his shtick. I think it's become part of his act. I think, bro, I'm 55 years old. I think it's to the point of being ridiculous, and I would take any opportunity I had to squelch it, but I don't think he's ever going to be willing to.
All right, moving on. Now, you've said in the past, I heard you on Steve Austin's podcast recently, that WWE listens too much to the internet fan. I mean, do you think that the internet fans, assuming they're one community, because everyone knows they're not, but do you think internet fans have any good ideas?
This is where Jim and I agree a lot, okay? Somehow, bro, through the transition in wrestling, the emphasis has gone from the characters and the storylines and the male-orientated soap opera. You always used to hear that. People used to say male soap opera. Somehow it's gone from that to the importance of the match. And that's why, to me, like, if I watch a Ring of Honor, that's not professional wrestling to me. That's not what I grew up on. That's not what I've watched since 1970. It represents something completely different. So I don't agree with the internet wrestling community as far as, the in-ring action signifies what professional wrestling is. Now, if they change, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Just got a cameo from War Animal here.
Now, if they change the name of it to something else, I got no problem with it. If you want to take that and rename it, I'm cool, but it's not the professional wrestling that I grew up on, that I wrote for. It's something totally different.
So, well, I guess my question is, so you think that they listen too much to the internet fans? And this is not an attack, but it's an observation. I think most people would say in WCW, when you were the head writer, a lot of what we saw in terms of writing was a lot of winking and nodding to the internet fans. Now, what would you say?
Give me an example, though, bro, because I disagree.
When people would cut a promo and people would say this is a shoot, or if Tony Schiavone would say he's going off the script.
I'll tell you exactly why, bro. That's a good question. That's a good question. I always felt, we had the Attitude Era. I always wanted to keep evolving the business. If I was still writing today, okay, I feel that a huge evolvement of the wrestling business is to talk about the business. make it more real life, what really goes on behind the scenes. You know, this guy's making this much, that guy's making that much, the politics involved. Really get into the business of the business. To me, that's where I think that wrestling needed to evolve to. But they've gone the other way. They've gone backwards. They've gone more 1975, more 80. Yeah, and that's what I would do tomorrow. I would start showing people, what really happens in the wrestling business.
If you could bestow an unlimited budget and a sweetheart, primetime, good cable TV deal to any Fed right now with the explicit intent of competing with WWE, who would you give it to?
I would give it to Lucha Underground. And bro, like an obvious question to ask me is, well, what's the difference between Lucha Underground and like a Ring of Honor? It's the same style of work. To me, the difference is that's always been Lucha wrestling. When you watch Luchas, that's what you expect. So I love the way Lucha Underground is staying true to who they are, but in the meantime, they build characters. You still have the vignettes. They have stories. They make it a show. And I would invest in that. I mean, I say to this day, like, that's the only company I would work for right now.
Do you think that Lucha could get kind of a mainstream hold on mainstream America? Because, I mean, you said in the past it's difficult for Lucha Libre to get over in America because of the language barrier and the masks.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And not only that, bro, because of just the just where wrestling is right now. Wrestling, bro, you look at TV ratings and it's a 15-year decline. It's not coming back anytime soon. There's no indication that it's coming back any soon. So I think it would be like next to impossible for a second organization to really, take the country by storm.
So I mean, even if Lucha Underground, with its storylines and its characters, even if it was given limited money and promotion, you don't think it would compete?
Because I think people have given up on wrestling. So if you've given up on the WWE, that's been the standard bearer for years, you're not going to go look for another wrestling product. That's my opinion.
Do you think, with all the injuries we've seen in professional wrestling, especially WWE, what do you think about the concept of an off-season? Do you think that'd be beneficial?
I think it's the way they're working. I think it's the way they're working. They're taking risks that they don't need to take. And again, bro, let's go back to, forget the Attitude Era, bro. Go back to the WrestleMania 1 to 3 era. When you had, your Big John Studs and your King Kong Bundys and your Junkyard Dogs and, guys like that. Bro, those guys, they got hurt, but not to the extent of the way guys today are getting hurt. They're taking risks that they just don't need to be taken, in my opinion. Bro, it's funny because I know Cornette would say a lot of these same things, but it's the truth. By taking the psychology out of it and putting in more, spots, you're putting yourself at a risk for injury.
If you, and this might be you might have just said the answer to this question, but if you had a magic wand and you could change one thing about professional wrestling today, what would it be?
The focus would go back on entertainment.
Moving on to WrestleMania, Sunday's main event could be a dumpster fire because the way they've been booking Roman Reigns in particular. What's one thing about Roman Reigns that you would want to change to maybe get him more over with the fans?
Bro, you got to. This is what we did during the Attitude Era. We wrote the shows week to week. And by doing that, we had our finger on the pulse of how a person would be accepted. Now, I'm not saying, bro, listen, when Roman Reigns goes into a building and 10,000 people are booing him out of the building, to me, you have to listen to that, but more importantly, you got to look at the ratings. Are they turning the channel when Roman Reigns is going on, or is that just the internet wrestling community? So the first thing I would do is really study those ratings and really look at those ratings and say, listen, is this the hardcore fans that are going to the arena, or is this your mass audience? Once I saw what the answer to that question was, then I would adjust to what I would do with Roman Reigns.
Let's turn the subject to you, the writer. What would you say your biggest influences have been in writing?
Just watching television, bro. Just really being a big fan of TV, really being a big fan of reality TV. Because one of my biggest pet peeves with wrestling, bro, is when you watch the show, like, wrestlers talk like wrestlers. People don't talk like that in real life. The stuff they say, a normal person would not say. So, through watching TV, through watching a lot of reality TV, I like studying people. I like studying dialogue. I like to get into the psychology of how somebody would truly act if they were put in that situation. The problem with the WWE is, regardless of what situation anybody's put in, they're either acting as a babyface or a heel. That everybody would act differently in every situation.
Name me your favorite idea that you pitched as a writer, whether it be for WWF, TNA, WCW, that got shot down.
Bro, I'll be honest with you, I can't remember one. I mean, I can't, because first of all, if it got shot down and I thought it was that good, I would have put my reputation on the line and say, we have to do this. If it sucks, I will take full responsibility. So, I mean, I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form to put myself over, but I can't really remember something that I was really behind that just got turned down.
Now, I get a lot of people asking me on my show, what do I got to do to become a writer? How can I get into the business as a writer? What's the one thing you would suggest to anyone out there watching who wants to become a writer or a booker in professional wrestling?
I would advise them not to. Like, bro, there are no jobs out there. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you got to look at what's my opportunity. When I started, it was a completely different situation because I started as a freelance writer for the magazine. Bro, I was writing stories for the magazine for $150 a month. That's it. But opportunities arose because the editor of the magazine got fired. When the editor of the magazine got fired, I got my foot in the door. And I was doing the magazine for a real long time. I didn't just become a writer. I would advise them not to, because you gotta be realistic. Where are you gonna work? I mean, you gotta be realistic.
Okay, last question, and it's kind of a two-parter. What would you say is the thing you are most proud of in your writing career, and what would you say is your biggest, pardon the pun for the name of my show, regret?
My most proudest, bro, is I think the best story we ever told was when Rock joined the corporation, because we built that up for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks with the most subtle of hints, but nobody ever saw it coming. And that might have been one of the best scripted storylines like in the history of wrestling. I think that was done to the T. When I talk about regrets, bro, like obviously, like I regret the JR thing. I mean, I would never ever do that again, bro. It was such a war at the time between WCW and WWE that like there were no holds barred and like anything went. So like that's all we saw at that point. But like looking back now, I'm like, man, I mean, and bro, I've long since apologized to JR. We're cool, but that was definitely something I wish I could take back.
Well, Vince Russo, it's been an honor to interview you. I'm glad that there's water under the bridge over that parody I did. I'm not. I won't be calling you bro anymore, bro.
I gotta tell you something. No, I gotta tell you something. I did not mind the parody at all. Okay, what pissed me off, I'm gonna be honest with you, I got pissed off. What pissed me off was when you went on there and you said, I created Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because here's the problem, bro, I've never said that. Bro, listen, I've got books out there. Anybody can read my books and my words and see I put freaking everybody in the Attitude Era over. But the problem is, bro, when you say that, when people like Cornette say that, bro, you got a lot of people out there that believe what they hear. So like the parody and everything, bro, I had no problem with. But when you made the comment, oh, I created Stone Cold Steve Austin, bro, it upset me because I've never said that. I would never take that credit from Steve. And bro, some people that watch you unfortunately believe, oh, I can't believe Russo said that. And I guess what bothers me more than anything is, bro, I would never take credit from like a freaking Steve Austin that, like, bro, there'll never be another talent like that again. And when people try to say, like, oh, I take the credit, that's what really, really bothers me, because the idea of me taking credit for something that was so great and so unique is impossible, like in the first place. So that was the thing that Aggravating. Well, real quick, bro. I mean, check out my website, russosbrand.com. We do video podcasting every day of the week. But more importantly than that even is we're starting on Podcast 1 on Tuesday. And, man, I'm really, really excited about that. We're going to be on 5 days a week. It's a different show every day with a different theme. You know, getting to work on the same, channel as JR and Jericho in Austin is like a big, big thrill. So that's starting on Tuesday, free to everybody. And I'm real excited about that.
And what's your Twitter handle? How can people find you on Twitter?
My Twitter is @TheVinceRusso.
Will you please unblock me?
Are you blocked? No, I think I did, bro.
Oh, did you? I haven't checked in a while. I just checked.
I think when you emailed me, I unblocked you.
Okay. Oh, cool. Well, then we're actually. Then I know we're cool then, because if he unblocked me, then we're cool. Honestly, Vince, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You don't want to get in one last Vince Russo promo?
I swear to God, not so much on the war. I pulled back. I pulled back a little bit, didn't I? I swear to God. I swear to God, you're gonna love this, bro. Wrestling with Regret, bro, and Vince Russo, bro. A match made in heaven.
Better. All right, bro.
All right. See you next time.